Call this meeting to order. It's the June 17th, 2026 student city council regular session. All the council are here and accounted for. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we've got a lot of visitors tonight. Anybody that wanted to speak, fill out a little yellow card so I'll know which item you want to speak on. We'll make sure you get called. And when we're reviewing the ordinance, we ask for comments along the way on that as we go through the different sections. So with that, we have consideration of the agenda. Item 4, any comments on the agenda as published? Go ahead, Larry.
I'd like to add an item to the agenda to discuss how letters to the council are handled by staff.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, new business, add item D. Is everybody okay with that?
I am.
Okay. Correspondence to council, or correspondence to the city.
Correct. To city council.
That, okay, gotcha. Okay, I need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
And a second? Second. All those in favor of approving the agenda with added 10D, correspondence to city council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. That would be items 5A through F, all in one motion and one approval. There'd be no separate discussion unless someone desires to pull an item. I do have one comment. We have a 5B, meeting minutes from June 3rd. Under public hearing, it says open the meeting, called the meeting to order. That was the public hearing, when we got to the public hearing. So it should say public hearing, not meeting. And I think it's reflected in our script, and I think the recording says that. Any other comments?
I make a thought as, so I've already addressed it, but the revision, ordinance revision would be relabeled. That would be on 5E.
Financials?
Yes.
What page are you on?
Oh, there's many pages, but it would be page 2. Yeah. Instead of it saying ordinance revision, to relabel that to legal fees.
Gotcha, it's legal fees, but it's not simply the ordinance
Correct.
revision, right? Okay, that makes sense.
Didn't give me. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All right, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Susan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's unanimous as well. All right, item 6 is announcements and correspondence. Anything you would like to share?
I have nothing other than to reiterate the 4th of July pie eating contest.
Okay,
Huckleberry,
all right.
and that's all I have. Do you have anything?
No.
Overlaps with mayor's report, so I have some of the same announcements. We have 4th of July at Port of Siuslaw. We're sponsoring pie eating and watermelon eating contest. Sign up at 11, eat at 12. There is a Juneteenth celebration at Woking Lake at the picnic pavilion this Friday. I believe it starts at noon, or does it start at 11? It's around lunchtime. They're serving lunch. And then Habitat for Humanity is sponsoring a porch slash 4th of July house decorating contest, similar to the Christmas decorations. It's for the 4th of July, but you've got to sign up in advance. There's judging, I think the weekend of the 4th of July. You sign up at florencehabitat.org if you're interested. I think it's free of charge, and they have a couple of categories: porches, houses, gardens, depending on what you're decorating. So, if anybody's interested. And with that, we will go to citizens input. I've got 3 cards. First is Jan Murphy.
I'm here because I believe a mistake was made, and I just wanted to share it with council. What happened originally was we were put in the STR program by Dune City, and we were sent many letters requesting that we pay, and also that we would get a fine if we didn't pay, and we wouldn't be able to have anyone renting a portion of our home that we live in, which is the old seaplane base right on the highway. It has been a commercial business for 3 decades, and we turned it into our home, and we lived there full time. We have for 10 years. Sorry, I just put a mint in my mouth, but so it's commercially zoned, but what we do is we rent a portion of this for up to 4 people while we were on the premises, and we believe that we are not an STR, and in fact we are not an STR, and we sent a letter saying we weren't, but we still continue to get letters telling us that we needed to pay. My husband, I didn't think we were part of that because we're commercially zoned, but my husband is an upright citizen and wanted to do the right thing and didn't want to cause any problems. So being that he was threatened with a fine, he came down here and he signed us up and we paid our dues. But then we realized a mistake was made, and we also see that in ordinance number 256B, short-term rentals does not mean commercially zoned properties, which we are. So with that, we had several correspondences, and of late, we tried to explain that a mistake was made, and we would like to have the money back that we paid. But what we got back from Dune City was that there was no, it was not, let's see, the actual wording was that we cannot discontinue our STR permit, but it was a mistake that was made, not a discontinuance of the STR permit. We never should have been in that category to begin with. Most organizations, when a mistake is made, will take responsibility and refund money that has been paid because of a mistake. So we requested that, and then we received a message back, an email, saying that we had 3 things that we could do to solve this issue. We could pay a tourist facility license application fee with the Lane County Environmental Health Department, and get revenue. Revenue attained through this route would be subject to state, county, city transient lodging tax, or we could be in the STR program. Well, this does not even make sense because we are not an STR, and it already says STRs are not commercially zoned. So that does not make sense. And already we pay that county fee. So we are deciding to do that, and opting out to be an STR, which we are not an SDR. And I think that's clear, is it not? Any questions?
Well, this isn't a time for a debate or a discussion with the council because it's on citizens' concerns, so we can't take any action. But
Okay,
I think that story is a little different than the one that we heard prior. I haven't seen all the correspondence, so I want to make sure, you get the early letters, the demand letters that predate the current. There's a number of us that are relatively new to this, and make sure you get those to the city administrator for review. Because within the city limits, you either need to be a motel, you're commercially zoned, so you're either the motel or you're short-term rental if you're operating a rental business. So if you're registered with Lane County and you're a motel, then correct, you
we are,
wouldn't be both.
we pay the fees already.
And the current ordinance, there was a revision, it's very specific to residentially zoned property. And so, and I think this happened prior to that new ordinance and prior to a number of our involvement, but anyway.
Well, our issue is that we would like to get the money that was mistakenly
Understood.
paid. I know we made a mistake by going along with it in the first place, and it was made a mistake that we were put into that class. So we are requesting that it's $1,800 actually, that we would receive back.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering your time.
Next is Craig Murphy.
Same issue.
Okay.
I would just like to say that I would expect the city council, which is here to serve the city of Dune City, to have the integrity and the moral upstandingness to refund money that was incorrectly paid.
Thank you. Next I have Jeannie Jackson.
Thank you. I'm Jeannie Jackson. I don't have a great deal to say. You have my letter, and it sounds like Larry wants to discuss something with regards to letters, so I won't go into detail. You have the letter. But I just wanted to state that instead of just being told in person, and I was here on at least 3 occasions where Lila could have addressed me, anyone could have addressed me, I was sent a certified letter that cost $10.48, and I know you're all on a tight budget, to pick it up at the Westlake Post Office. It delayed my receiving it by several days because I had to sign for it. It was delivered on a weekend. And that doesn't seem very efficient. And if you want to talk to me, my goodness, I mean, we come to all your meetings, Geneva and I do. We all address each other by first names. I had to be sent a threatening letter through the mail. I just questioned that you did that. And as you know, Mayor, I was upset at the last meeting to the point I did not speak because I feel like I can't even talk without getting in trouble. And I just don't think that's right. All I was doing was expressing my views, as was my sister, and I just wanted to point that out. And Larry, we can talk about what you want to later. This is not the time to get into the personal letter. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just realized I have a card from Lisa Walter Sedlak for item 6. Did I miss something? I'm sorry.
So this is just
I
a
got out of work. I apologize.
friendly invitation for the council I'm part of the group that is putting on the Juneteenth
Okay.
celebration at Wohink, East Wohink Day Use Area. We paid all our fees and we are going to have Lions Barbecue and music and tables and children activities. There's going to be face painting and balloon making and animals and lots of things. It's this Friday from 12 to 3.
Well,
And we'd love to invite the council, and I have some flyers. And it's a chance for us, the reason we're doing it is to celebrate Juneteenth and also to build community in these times of discourse. So we hope you can come.
thank you. I'm sorry I got you out of order. Okay, and then I have Chris John. You wanted to speak during citizens' concerns?
Yeah, just want to, first of all, say thanks again for volunteering, you guys, appreciate it. I'm not sure if any of you are aware, but there's been some sort of disturbance at the Wohink boat ramp. I don't know if you have friends higher up in the state that are water authority or park authority, but there was a ton of rock dumped at the end of the boat ramps. So you can't launch a boat now. The angle of the boat ramp is this, and the rocks make a bump. So when you come down, motors are hitting this rock that they put in. Be surprised if you haven't heard about it yet. It's been a couple of weeks, so.
So Chris, I was there that day when the excavator was there. And the reason that they told me they were placing the rock was because where the concrete comes underneath, the base was washing out underneath the concrete. And so they tried to drop that rock in there, and of course, once they dropped the rock in there, it got very murky. And so I came back a few days later to see what they did, you know, and I'm not a boater, so I don't know what that launching dynamic is or the geometry. But the reason they put it there is because they were worried about losing the boat ramp altogether. Now, if they need to come back and regrade what they couldn't see because the water got murky, then perhaps that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, that excavating at the bottom of the cement of the boat ramp's a pretty common thing, and occasionally, I'd say once every 5 or 6 years, they'll drop rock, but it's usually much bigger rock, and literally, there's a ramp comes down where the pile was dumped, it comes back up within a foot of the water, foot of the top of the water, at least it did. I've heard these third-party stories about people coming with rakes and trying to make it better. But I just want to put that out there. If you know anybody, if you can, poke anybody, say, hey, check this out, people would
Was
appreciate it.
it the county that did that?
It's all Lane County Park. That's all operated by Lane County.
State park.
That one's not the county, that's the
A
state.
state park.
That's the state park.
Yeah,
This one?
Welling's the state. Yes, the one here in Westlake is the counties. So, yeah, that one's the state.
Yeah, so I
We'll see
think
what
we personally have gone the gamut of all of that. We're hitting walls, so that's why I just kind of want to bring it to you guys. If you have anybody else or
All right.
anything, just anything you can do to help would be appreciated.
Okay. I know a retired state parks guy.
ODFW. They do want to control that, I think, state patrol.
Going back to work.
We'll see what we can find
Yeah.
out.
We placed a call to them yesterday
Okay.
about the issue, so I'll follow up, see what they've
Okay.
done.
All right.
Then to just kind of round out my point of discussion, I want to say congratulations on getting all those lucks done. You guys have done a pretty good job. There's still 8 properties out there that don't have their luxes that are currently active STRs. 2 of those are brand new STRs, so just permitted. They don't have a lux. So
What does that stand for?
Paperwork is in.
is it completed and returned by the state?
No,
Why do they have a permit?
because we cannot hold people up.
The permit states at the very top, in the very first paragraph, that this lux must be completed and submitted at the time of the permit application.
Well, we had a discussion 2 years ago, and boy, did that.
So in response to Larry's comment about letters, I sent the whole board a letter about the process that you guys were supposed to adhere to and you weren't, and it's resulting in these STRs being permitted without the proper paperwork being done. Did any of you get that?
Yeah,
I did.
a couple of meetings.
Okay, yeah, I just never got any feedback. I wanted to make sure that you got it. Okay, I think that's really all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Any other citizens input? Anybody didn't put their name on a yellow card before I move on? If not, we'll go on to reports. Under mayor report, I got to participate in the City of Roses Parade in Portland. It was a big success. Mayor of Portland invited every mayor in Oregon and South Washington, and I think 36 of us walked in the parade together, and it was actually great meeting all the other mayors and getting to see the rest of the group. I think they're gonna do it again next year, and that's all I have. And then on your counter, you have permit report and code enforcement report. If you have any questions.
I have a question regarding the complaints from code enforcement. Public health occupancy on both informal and, 2 on formal and 1 on informal. Is there any way we can get information on that? Was there a public health threat? Or is it something? when they state.
Wouldn't be a public health threat here, it would probably be a complaint about waiting for a septic, waiting for a county septic review, that's typically a complaint, because, go ahead.
I was gonna say Igor's here.
It's actually, the way the complaint is provided to me, it says public health occupancy, and it really means exceeding the occupancy limits of that SDR.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Perhaps we can change that because to someone that may see that.
So I just take it exactly from the, whatever comes through the email. I just bring it along.
Okay. Oh, I got you.
Complaint, you know, I don't want to change whatever.
The parentheses occupancy, it was just the.
Personal,
I just want to make sure
Potentially
when we say
exceeding.
public health, it can be misleading.
Yeah. All right, any other questions on
Yes,
this?
I'd like to know, so does the ordinance require people to get these permits before they're
In
issued?
advance, no, and to your point,
No,
Chris.
does the ordinance require?
No, it does not.
Okay, does our paperwork say it's required?
No, so when we were crafting the ordinance, because we were relying on external, our assumption was, because we had done this once, that it was within 30 days. So the thought was, you could issue that permit and they had 30 days to finish that. Not ever believing that it could take 15 months to hear back from Lane County. So that's the challenge. And Chris, I appreciate your paper, but it is your opinion of how we should be doing this. It's not what the ordinance says.
It's what Lane County told us.
Well, that's fine, but we're talking about the city's ordinance, and then part of that goes off to Lane County, and we have zero control over
So
Lane
my
County's
question
response.
is, so is the particular permit that they're seeking
Yeah.
determine the number of people in that STL?
Some of them.
It's two parts, yes.
Okay, well
It's
then how
parts,
can we?
parts
how
the
can we
building
give-
permit, parts the county.
How can we give a permit for a certain number of people when that number is not yet determined?
Well, it is determined in our ordinance by
By
the
what?
building permit, by the number of bedrooms and bathrooms.
Okay,
And then with the final word from the county, because there are instances where the septic system
is inadequate.
Exactly.
So, well, it seems like we're putting, you know, the cart before the
And
horse.
hindsight's 20/20, Larry.
Well, that's
None of
what I'm
this
saying.
came up at the time, so.
I
it's-
understand.
It's on the list of things we should probably change in the ordinance,
I
but
totally agree, because I'm concerned about the fact that we are continuing to approve things where we don't know if the septic system is gonna work. Plus, we set.
we do know that it works. They've all been inspected, they
No,
all
that's not
work.
my point. My point is, if it's not acceptable for the number of people that
Yeah.
are advertising, then what happens is we have to go backwards with the owner of
We
that
do.
property.
That's in the ordinance too.
I don't want us to be in that situation, personally. I
Well,
think it's backwards.
We're
I
between a
think
rock
we
and a
should-
hard spot.
Then I think we should hold the permits until we get that
Well,
permit.
there's a separate process if you like a moratorium on short-term rentals. We're the only city that has this requirement. And we thought we were going above and beyond, and it's,
Well,
it's burned all of our fingers. It's not working right.
You're right, because we've had a number of properties that came back with inadequate septic systems.
One, I believe, one.
Okay. But
But
it's come back
that
to us.
one, but that one puts a bitter taste in people's mouth and runs a risk.
So it's hard to understand how people
Got
are
it.
upset.
What do you want to do, though?
Stop issuing permits until they get it approved by the county. Let them put the pressure on the county. We don't have to get involved in that.
Anybody?
Yeah, and if possible, I'd like to see a copy, I think we got it at one time and I just could not locate mine, a copy of for reference, the worksheet that is put into play when somebody applies for a permit and the steps. And so if it has like the dates, this was complete on this date, this was complete on this date. I know I've asked for one of those before and I haven't seen it.
Do you know if that exists?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Is there a way we can get a copy of
Absolutely.
something like that? I would appreciate that and a copy of, you know, the STR
Yeah.
permit request to review. Maybe it comes down to wording on that permit.
No, it's going to come down to wording of the ordinance.
Then we need to move that advance. I think there's definitely.
Yeah, it's on our
concern with
list.
that.
I mean, we may need to put a pause on this because it comes up every single meeting.
Well, I think we should
Revisit it.
pause permits because we're trying to get through all the different codes we need to review. But, you know, I went through a 4-year process of getting my business approved with the county.
Yeah.
They didn't say, oh, you can open early. you can do this because we haven't given you all these approvals.
This is a different situation.
I don't think
These are
it's different at
existing
all.
homes that are already occupied.
It's a business, I don't care, it's a business. If you don't have the approvals, you should not be able to
Okay.
open your doors, period.
They're moving from residential to commercial.
But remember, the same home could be a long-term rental with 14 people in it,
Fine,
because it's unregulated.
let's do that.
But that potentially exceeds the
point
same
is,
number.
What you're
Yeah.
seeing is discontent with the ordinance.
Understood.
We need to get to it soon, but in the meantime, let's not put more problems in the bucket we have to dig out later. Let's cease issuing permits and tell these people, go to the county and put their leverage on it to get the permit, to get the number approved.
Larry, they're all told when they get their paperwork, before the permit is issued, you have to do this. If, because it has been taking so long, if anything comes back and you do not upgrade your system, if they say it needs it, or if they say this will not do it, you either make a change or you do not continue to go forward.
I know you're
And
telling
that's what
them
you've done
that.
with everything.
I appreciate that, Pam. I just don't want to go that far. I want them to get the approval before.
You can't.
We should do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I add something to that? If you don't mind, it's the short-term rental that's across from us. It's been 18 months and it's still having 12, 13, 14 people, and it's only been approved for 9. It took them they went through an initial application and a renewal and never had their permits, as did 26 other properties. And now they're still having too many people, and we tell Jim Donahue about it. His response is, well, they're guests. Well, we still see the cars there the next morning. So it's up to us to police it now, to let Igor know when there's too many people, but he's consistently having too many people at this home. And we can see evidence in the grass. We took a picture today of when we got home from a trip, lines in the grass where you can see the failure of the septic, or the overloading. I shouldn't say failure because I don't know that, but you can see where there's a problem. And, so why is this still going on? So I agree with what Larry says. I think it needs to be done ahead of time, because now when you go backwards and try and do it, they're saying, oh, well, we had people that rented it a long time ago, so this is what is happening.
You just need to understand how septic systems work a little bit better if you're going by the lines of the grass.
We know how they work.
I think that you need to understand that you work for the people and not the
I
property
think,
manager.
could I,
Right?
hey,
So
Chris?
everybody needs to be
Yeah,
clear.
Chris,
Okay,
this isn't an action item and we're way off, we're not prepared for this. We'll have to put something together for a future agenda.
It's gonna be moved like to the next agenda,
Yeah,
because
yeah, we need an
I
action
mean, this
item.
is a consistent concern,
Yeah.
I think it would be best to move it to
Yeah,
an
we'll-
action for the next agenda.
That's a good idea.
See what we can do, yes. All right, any other questions on the code enforcement report or the permit report?
I have one. So speaking of, and perhaps Igor can help us, are there properties that are close to 3 strikes and you're out?
What was that again? I didn't.
Are there properties that are close to the 3 strikes and you're out?
There is one.
I think the city administrator should answer that.
That's,
There's one.
thank you,
Yeah, and so there should be notification going out either tomorrow or Monday.
thank you.
And, yeah, once that goes out, we'll brief the council on the rest of the details. Any other code enforcement or permit report questions?
Just a thank you to Igor.
We will.
Yeah. It's not been a friendly week. All right, item 9, old business, the Douglas Fast Net franchise agreement. It is labeled 9A, and there was a question in the Hayek franchise agreement. They agreed to pay a token amount until they got to the 5%, and that was a question. So that wasn't changed, so that was a no thank you. It's a as is.
Unless you want to. It would appear that with the HIAC, they volunteered that,
Right.
and so it's permissible.
And they were moving quickly, I know.
Correct, and we copied the same verbiage for the new one, and the attorney said we couldn't require that of them.
Okay,
So we removed the $250 a month Just a month, right?
Okay.
Quarter.
Yeah, it was a quarterly payment in lieu of a 5% until
Right.
they exceeded it, so this one, we would approve an agreement, and then once they start serving customers, we would.
We would get 5%.
And we have no way now of knowing what that amount's gonna be.
No, because that would be driven by numbers of customers and their
I know what
monthly
it's driven
price.
by it, I'm just saying that leaves us an unknown
Totally,
in our budget.
yeah, don't count for it. Well, it's not in the budget, it's
Well,
a
no,
zero.
no.
Well, an estimate of it.
I'm talking about future budget, I'm trying to
Yeah,
look to the future of how we're going to work this, and there's nothing that we can put in there.
and it is a 10-year, it's proposed to be a 10-year agreement with a right to renew, so, I mean, these are long-term investments, so. Did they give you any inkling if they were anxious to start somewhere, or?
No.
Okay,
Any estimated time of initiation?
no, yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm really, that's what
open-ended.
I'm concerned with, there's no timelines in there, nothing.
Well, but there's no effort to us either, other than signing an agreement. I know a lot of
It's
these,
to know, for the residents to know who's gonna be in their area.
once we hear, we'll let them know. I think a lot of these, they put these agreements together, and once they can put together a large enough service area, then they'll make a financial commitment, because they're not gonna,
An opportunity that they may not even do it.
it may never
They
happen,
gather
exactly, if they can't get to critical mass. Because they will be the third service provider by the time they arrive, and we're pretty spread out.
Are they piggybacking on, is that fiber company piggybacking on Hayek? Is that how that works?
Well, you never know. So, and I think that's what they do. They decide, if they get an agreement, then they go shopping. Can we connect to Verizon? Can we connect to Hayek? Can we make a deal for that backhaul? And they don't tell us any of those other
Interesting,
industry
yeah.
secrets.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the non-exclusive telecommunications franchise agreement between Dune City and Douglas Services, Inc. It says non-exclusive on the title page.
Correct.
So I'll make the motion to approve it
As is.
as is.
Thank you. Anybody want to second that?
I'll take it.
Thank you, Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 2 nays. Melissa and Susan nay. Thank you. All right, that takes us to new business. New business 10A, we have the employment agreement for James Divis. And if there's any specific discussion around his personal business, we're gonna do that in executive session, which is his choice, but he's expressed that concern, so it's on the agenda, so it's published in case we need an executive session. We do have a letter, or 2 letters, a letter delivered in an email related to the employment agreement, and so we got those, I think with enough notice to do a little research. The city charter is silent on the city administrator. It doesn't exist. It mentions a recorder, which is one of the duties of the city administrator. But the 2 letters in here basically state that it's about what's in the agreement, and for the audience's benefit, when I was appointed mayor, I was handed an old agreement with the previous, now 2 city administrators ago, and it said, this person reports to the mayor. And then the mayor will be the funnel, for the council. And in the city charter, it describes the city council as the mayor and the city council make up the city council. So that term is used a little bit interchangeably. So it says that the gist of the letter is that the city administrator shouldn't report to the mayor, they should report to the city council. And the charter is silent. So anyway, one possibility is change the city charter, which takes a vote, but it does not preclude the council from empowering the mayor for certain roles and responsibilities where it's silent. So I leave that to you guys. I didn't mean to do something we weren't supposed to do. This was handed to me. And in conference with our council president, who's been on the council a while, we had this conversation when I was appointed. So it's been a term in our contract for many years, and we didn't draft that. That came from either LCOG or CIS. I'm not sure which one drafted it, but they both provide HR and legal services to the city. And so this is the third iteration that I've been involved in, but the terms go back a ways. So the first part of this is, what does the council want to do with that term? Because it's stated that way in the agreement, and we can change the agreement if it's necessary. And if you have any specific questions for James, we'll go into executive session, but kind of a two-part. So I'm opening that up to the council. Go ahead.
I think it should be compliant with the council.
So-
I would prefer to see the council be the responsible party as opposed to us. As one person put it, a strong mayor and less serviceable council. I think the council should be the person that is, in essence, employing the city manager.
So,
I think the mayor could be appointed by the council to sign the agreement on behalf of the council, but I think, I like the council model of governance. I do not like a strong mayor council form of government. I think it puts a finger on the scale of a lot of things that happen in that kind of model. So I would prefer, I recognize some of the letters that we have here, and I think it crosses into other issues that I'll bring up later. But I think that this should reflect the exact city charter, which has been pointed out.
okay.
I think you got an issue with that.
Well, hang on a sec. So the charter already says I sign the agreement under mayor.
Right.
So that part's clear.
Yeah.
Within 3 days of approval.
By the council.
And so I have a question. How does that work week to week? If we meet every 2 weeks and there are day-to-day, we're not going to convene as a council without proper notice and, an agenda and backup. And there are a lot of there's a lot of ongoing that are mostly I just get pinged, we got this is what we're doing. Is this an action item or is this an administrative duty? So sometimes it's just an opinion and then we put them on the agenda when it's obviously a council action item. But there's a lot of day-to-day that the staff would be left to their own devices for 2 weeks at a time.
Which I'm concerned about.
And I agree, you can't leave the business go
No, I
2
agree.
weeks.
I agree with that.
Them not have direction, so.
I totally agree with that, but there are things that are not
I don't
coming
agree
to
with
the
your opinion
council.
on that.
Yeah, I know, but there are things that are not coming to the council that I'm concerned about under the current.
How about we fix that?
Well, that's why I'm gonna bring it up. It's
Okay.
right here on the agenda.
Okay.
But I'm concerned about the fact that people can address mail to the council and we not receive that mail. Okay, because the decisions are being made by the mayor and the city manager and not communicated to the council. I'm concerned about that. And I see it reflected in other types of governance actions by this council. So I'm not in favor of a strong mayor. I'm in favor of a strong council because our constituents voted for us. They want to be able to talk to us. They want to send us emails. They want to send us mails. They want to communicate with us. If everything's being filtered through the mayor or the city manager, that's not acceptable. It's not working.
I think we have
Hang on, dude.
the.
Rich had something to say. Go ahead. I'll work all the way down the table. You have anything to add, Chris?
No, I agree that you have to be the day-to-day operations. We provide guidance, answer questions, things escalate to us, and we make decisions.
Okay.
If something is falling through the cracks, those can be addressed.
That's what I wanted.
But the overall structure, I think, works.
Okay.
I'm not looking to change that.
All right. Rich?
I don't feel that it's a strong mayor situation. I feel the mayor has to have the authority to operate business on a day-to-day venture, and we can't do that.
I agree.
And there's no way that these people can sit around here for 2 weeks waiting for council to make a decision on stuff that should have been done 3 weeks ago. So I don't agree with that myself.
Well, I think we're somewhere in between here, Rich. We're not completely black or white. What we're trying to say is there's things we could fix to make this work better.
A strong mayor, from my experiences, is an individual that creates everything that goes on in city council, and council doesn't necessarily have the opinion as to what they want to see on council, and that's not what we are here.
If council wants something on city council, you ask the mayor to put it on there and it gets put on there. So that's not a strong mayor in my opinion, but that's all I got.
All right, Susan,
I agree with Chris.
okay. Melissa,
I see both sides, but prime example would be something that has to be added and we need someone to act right then and right there. I am open to having a strong mayor position, but knowing that if something's not working, we need to be able to bring that back to the table
sure.
quickly. Not just, well, we'll address it at another meeting, at another meeting, at another meeting. It needs to be acted on at the next meeting.
Paduk,
What we have individually elected council members by the citizens, and we have an individually elected mayor by the citizens. I look at, our mayor is in working a weak mayor. He just has no vote unless there's a tie. But what he's hired to do, what he's voted in to do, is be the lead city administrator for the day-to-day business. Again, if there's a crack, we need to fix that, but I do believe we have a strong council with a, as far as council goes and decision-making, a strong council and a weak mayor position. He is the lead in the city administration for the day-to-day business, voted in by the citizens of Dune City.
thanks. So, the first part of the question is, do we amend the employment contract where it says reports to mayor?
Which paragraph are you talking about?
It's called out in the letter, in the email, sorry.
In the emails. We don't have copies of the email.
You should. I think all the correspondence is either in the packet or sitting on the counter, right? James, everybody has a copy of them too, right?
They should, yeah. It's after the Fastnet thing. Yeah.
You get to the
And
employment
so it's
contract, you should
section
have
2 of
I have the
the,
employment contract
Okay.
right here. I have no emails.
oh, I don't know of any emails we're talking about.
Well,
You referred to an email.
Yeah, I don't have an email either.
Those are correspondences from people in the public, so they have been published, and everybody should have a copy of those as well.
I-
They were paperclip?
I have no email.
Okay.
You're
No,
listening.
this is what I came with.
yeah, it's at the, is it the next page?
Is that's a bunch of things that we're going to.
There you go.
Well, what I see here is it says, and other such legally permissible and proper
Yes,
duties and functions as the mayor shall from time to
My
time
apologies,
assign to
thank you.
employees. Right? And now we're talking about paragraph 2, section 2, I guess?
You're looking at the employment contract.
Right. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm looking at the email, it doesn't say which paragraph it is, I apologize. We've
I
got two
think we
things
just need to
going on.
look at the contract.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't have any problem with the agreement, the way it's written here. Proper duties and functions as the mayor shall from time to time assign to employee consistent with the intent of this agreement. And, of course, the council can ask the mayor to do what we wish.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Okay.
I don't have any problem. with
Okay,
that.
so that was the gist of the email that, this is from Geneva Jackson, right? This is from Jim.
There's one from Geneva Jackson, one from Holly Collins.
Gotcha.
I just have one question regarding the agreement, Mayor.
Yeah,
When it comes up to the very end of the recitals, whereas the charter of the city provides that the city council may appoint a city recorder, a municipal judge.
yeah.
Can you more define that municipal judge when I read that?
No,
I
that's
think
in the
that might
city
be
charter. I mean,
drawn.
that's just quoting the city charter.
Okay.
We're not here to appoint a judge.
That's just want to make sure.
Yeah,
That it's,
okay.
he's not, the position is not the
No,
ultimate
no, no, no,
decision
no.
maker. Copy.
That's,
Thank you.
that's just a copy paste right out of the city charter.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm all fine with this.
Okay, and it is interesting because it describes the recorder and a judge, but it doesn't describe the city administrator at all.
But it does say other officers.
Yes, and then it says other
Yeah.
officers may.
I just wanted to get that in.
So how about-
a technical term.
Can I make a suggestion on this section 2 where it says, and other such legally permissible and proper duties and functions as the mayor shall from time to time assign to employee consistent with the intent of this agreement with concurrence by the city council, or with the mayor shall, comma, with concurrence by the city council, then say assign to employee consistent with this intent of this agreement. All I'm trying to do is bring the two in there.
So,
That sounds like we would have to approve every,
yeah, and
I don't
this
say
is,
that.
this is his agreement, not my agreement.
I understand.
And, because there's a lot of day-to-day stuff that comes up.
I get that.
And
I
so,
get that. I'm
it
just trying
won't
to-
all come to the council.
I understand. I'm just trying to say that usually what we do is we talk about some
Yeah.
things that we'd like him to do as his job responsibility. So there's some concurrence that goes along from the city council. I'm just trying to figure out how to wordsmith that in there.
But I don't think he's gonna withhold anything.
No,
He's
I'll
gonna
have you
come to us
go-
and there's not, I'm not gonna be available every single day
Oh, I
to be
agree.
consulted.
I'm not asking for
The
that.
position that he is holding is not gonna be able to send out a mass email to all of us, because that does not follow the rules.
Right.
So we have to have our faith in our mayor to be able to be the guidance and the supervisor of that position. And if he has any concerns, knowing that he will come to us, because he does not have a vote. We have it, the only way he votes is in the event of a tie.
Right.
I have confidence in them, I'm not sure about the other council members, but I don't think we need to make anything saying
Okay.
that upon, because the time doesn't allow that.
You know, bottom line is if there's a dispute anywhere across the board, the council has the right to vote on anything, and the mayor is just a deciding factor. If it's a split vote, other than that, I mean, we gotta run a business, and he's got just as much authority as the mayor in the city, as the administrator.
Right.
So, but somebody's gotta make the determining factors as to how it goes along, we can't stifle that.
I agree.
That's just my opinion on it.
Well, we can adopt it, as I just said. I would be happy to propose that we accept the agreement as written. You know, I'm happy to go with it as written. I was just thinking that there was maybe something we could do to make it more inclusive, I guess is the word I'm trying to use.
I think that's probably for me to work on more than for James's agreement.
Okay, fine. That's perfect.
Any other comments on the agreement? And is there any of the specifics that you want to discuss with James in executive session, or is the rest of this acceptable? I guess you've already answered that, there's no other comment, but I just want to make sure we cover that just in case. So, so did you want to make that motion, Larry, that we?
Yes, I'm delighted that we have James. I'm delighted that he's here, delighted that he's so well qualified and interested in working with the city of Dune City. I'm so delighted that Lila is here to help guide him in his new responsibilities, and so I'd like to propose that we accept and have you endorse this employment agreement between the administrator and the city of Dune City.
A second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and, I mean, just point of clarification, we will sign this, and he will have an annual review and formally, and then any other as needed. So you say the word if you want an interim, you know, if there's time for an interim annual review and direct feedback. And with that, congratulations, we have a oath of office we've come forward with. I don't know what to do with it, Jamie.
I made an extra copy, I figured.
Comes prepared.
I got too many last minute handouts. All right. Somebody want to take pictures?
Oh, yes, you get some pictures, we all did.
Take a picture, sure.
That's part of accepting the position.
Okay, I found it. I got one for me and one for you.
Yes,
Or one for you and one for.
one for me, because I can't remember.
There you go. Somebody got a phone?
I was on it.
Okay.
Make it a
We're gonna do it in front of, let's do it right here in front of the still.
Right in the middle.
Well, I was gonna say repeat after me. Either way, I will repeat it. But- So, raise your right hand. And
Right underneath the camera?
so nobody at home can see us?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go, thank
All
you.
right. Take it away.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna do it.
Oh, go ahead.
You can just read. Okay. I, James Dillis, do solemnly swear that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Oregon, the the charter and codes of Dune City, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of city administrator to the best of my ability, so long as I am in office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
So you get both. One for you, one for. Okay. We'll put one in the official file.
Basically, the center.
It's the center.
Of everything.
It's the center.
Yeah. Like 2 hours in the south of Florence.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will. I think I know.
Is your family from there?
My great grandparents are from Sicily.
Oh, yes.
Just go downstairs, I'll check for the whatever.
All right, item 10C. Sorry, we had public comment from Geneva, but we covered that, correct, Geneva, would you let us?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think you're following your own regulations, and it doesn't take that much to do it. You're gonna need to change your charter. And you don't seem to be willing to entertain that.
May I address
But,
that?
I respect what you're saying, but there's a reason why the people who developed this charter chose to have a, quote, weak mayor. And some communities do. But if you guys if you think it's time for a different kind of a mayor, then we need to change the charter.
Okay, I appreciate your comment. And I
Okay.
think, well, James has done some research. James, did you want to speak to that?
No, this goes back to the city administrator portion, but it does say that the city council shall appoint city officers, which they did on the May 20th at the regular city council meeting. And so all the mayor has done was accept responsibility for supervising me. So there's nothing in the charter that says who would be a supervisor. It's silent on that, which leaves it up to the council to decide how it would be done. Unless it's expressly prohibited, which it's not.
And the city charter only describes a couple of positions. It doesn't say we have a permit technician, it doesn't say we have code enforcement. It says we can have a judge. It describes those things that have to be appointed, clerks, recorders, judges. So obviously the city has a tiny little org chart, and not all those positions are mentioned in the city charter. We didn't need to change the city charter to have employees or to operate the city day to day. Now, I appreciate your comment, and we can reach out to our attorney. I mean, there's 2 attorneys that are very familiar with government law that we work with, and we'll reach out to one of them and say,
Do we need to change the mayor's description? I think that's what.
No, I'm just gonna ask him his opinion about your email and our current situation, because changing the charter is a big step. And the description of the mayor says, I run the meeting, I break ties, and I sign agreements, and I continue to do that. I mean, the agreements, I sign the agreement. I don't think we're changing the intent, because all actions come back to the city council, all action items, and anything that is not administrative in nature, that's covered by one of our policy statements or handbook, comes back to the city council. And there is a lot of day-to-day business, but it's not business I do, it's business that the staff does. And the staff bounces things off me, like, does this go to council, or this is an existing agreement? And so we have a lot of back and forth, but I'm not making a decision on those, I'm giving them feedback.
Well, I'm just responding to the exact quote, and what you just voted on. And other such legally permissible and proper duties and functions as the mayor shall from time to time assign to the employee. And unless it's come directly from the council, I don't see how you can, unless you change your charter, you can do that.
Okay. And the definition of council says mayor and city council members. So I'm also part of that description of council.
I understand that.
So it's not the perfect charter. There's a lot to be left to interpretation. So I appreciate your comment. We'll follow up with his attorney and see if he thinks we should be doing something different.
Okay.
I guess maybe I don't understand, because the mayor didn't sign anything that the council didn't approve.
Right. But the day-to-day.
I guess I'm confused.
If there's any day-to-day decision that doesn't come before the council. But there are a lot of decisions that are just questions, things that we bounce off each other that are administrative duties that are carried out by the city administrator or the permit technician or by code enforcement. And that's my point of contact, and I'm their point of contact for the council.
And we just told you to do that.
I appreciate that.
And he was elected to do that. He was the head administrator elected by the people.
Right.
Well, and this agreement's not new, Mrs. Jackson. This is 15 years it's been like this. We didn't change those words. And so
I'm
I inherited
assuming
that.
that's true. That means you've been out of compliance for 15 years. And
Yes,
that's-
we have, collectively, the collective we, because you've been here too. I haven't been here for all 15 years, but, and for all I know, it was the previous agreement to that, so, sorry, I mean, we blindly followed that, it never even came up, so we had never had this conversation until this week. So anyway, we'll get a follow-up with the attorney,
Okay.
and we can get a redo or an adjustment if it's necessary, so. All right, that was the only comment I had on that, and that takes us to 10C. So 10C is a slightly unusual step. So we have a ballot initiative that has been approved by Lane County Elections. You've got a staff report in front of you, but there are basically 3 choices in front of you tonight. So within 30 days, we have to take one of 3 actions. Adopt the initiative, meaning accept the proposed revisions to the short-term rental ordinance and the terms in the petition. If the council accepts, and the statute is silent on whether we have to post this like we would a normal ordinance and then have another public hearing, or we just accept it as is because there's sufficient signatures to put it on the ballot. You could accept it, you could reject it, meaning you're not accepting it, and it goes on the ballot. It doesn't mean we change anything. It means the council's not going to approve it tonight. And then it goes in front of the voters, and then the rest of that language is out of statute. And then the third is you can reject and refer a competing measure or a companion measure. So the council could decide they want to craft their own ballot initiative that could incorporate all or none of the changes or different changes or whatever you want to do to get to the same place if you think you have a better way of getting there. We've already discussed, we had 2 back-to-back meetings taking comments. We already talked about the need to revisit the ordinance one way or another. So if you accept, there is a couple of terms in there that are probably not enforceable by a city. So if you accept, it doesn't mean you can do things that cities can't do, if that makes sense. If you let it go to a vote of the people, they vote for it as is, and then if it passes, there would still be a discussion about implementation because there are terms that cities can't enforce. But I mean, I'm just teeing this up. This is after talking to the attorney and reading this. So, and you can read the staff report. It's open to discussion.
Well, I would just say that I would propose that we take action number 2 to reject the initiative and refer it to the city's voters at the November election.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Well, hang on, we gotta get discussion from everybody. So we have motion, no second, hang on. Chris, any other comment?
Well, just that the proposed summaries is contradictory with itself. Like, step 1 is prohibit, and then the second one is establish a density limit. Like, well, so what are we doing? Are we prohibiting? Are we providing a density limit? So I'm for putting it to a vote, but I'm concerned that if it gets voted on, what are we voting on?
Well, that's one of the challenges. So we had language that was submitted.
Yeah.
By law, it goes to an attorney for review, and it's kind of a 2-step, for lack of a better understanding. Went out to the attorney to comply with the law. Lila had very specific dates. Went on, I'm speaking for Lila right now, I didn't have anything to do with this, but went out to the attorney, and there's 2 parts. One, does it violate the Constitution of Oregon? And if the answer is no, then they review the rest of the language and say, is it clear enough? So there were a couple of wordsmithing changes to make sure it was legal language, if you will, but it didn't necessarily get clear, because I'm with you, we've got multiple things going on in here, and that was one of the questions we had for the attorney. Do we simplify? And he said, no, we just, if it complies with the Constitution, then we put it in a format acceptable to the law, and we return it. And so that's what was returned. They gathered signatures, it went back to Lane County, and they said they have sufficient signatures. So you're correct. If either step A or B, if it passes, or is it one or two, sorry? One or two.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back in front of the council and go, what do you wanna do with it?
Yeah, I don't know how we would implement this if it passed. That would be my concern. If we would put
And I'm
ourselves
not
in
sure we can answer that tonight.
Yeah.
But you could answer it, you could attempt to answer it with number 3. Now, here's where number 3 gets even better. I called the attorney so I could get an understanding, because I'm trying to explain this. And he said, if you have a competing ballot initiative, they can both pass, they can both fail. So you can't go on the agenda and say, on the ballot, to say A or B.
Right.
It would say ballot initiative 1, this. Ballot initiative 2, a simpler version that you might like the language better, and people could vote for both.
Yeah.
And then it would come back to the council, and you'd go, now what do you want to do? They both pass. So, no simple, there's no easy button, other than maybe Larry's just let the people decide, and then we'll wrestle with it.
Yeah.
Because we'll get more legal advice if it passes.
Yeah, I guess I'm with Larry on that.
Right.
Let's send it to a vote.
Okay.
I do want
Right,
some
and
input.
then we get the clear feedback
Yeah.
from the public.
And then we figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
As messy as that may be. That'll be first of next year, when they certify the election and all that. So, Rich, comment? Or do you like that choice?
I just got no comment.
Okay. Susan?
I have no good comment, so I'm going to be silent.
Thank you. Melissa?
There's proof for the no comments.
Okay. Duke?
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay. So we have a motion. Somebody want to second that motion to go to choice number 2, reject the initiative put on the ballot?
second that.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't understand how we could pass a motion tonight when we really don't have all the information, because basically all the information is not listed on here as it was listed in the...
Here's the whole thing.
All the whole thing behind it.
Yeah, you have the whole packet. There's what was filed, here's the amended ordinance, the modified language is highlighted. Okay. So the whole packet is there. And to Chris's point, yes, I know it may be difficult to insert.
I would just add that, like, where we are is seeing democracy in action, and it's always messy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just messy.
Yeah.
So the people have brought forth an initiative, they'd like to put it on the ballot, and the backwards way of doing this is for us to reject the initiative and refer it to voters.
Exactly. When he told me that was a choice, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. He goes, I know, but that's what the law says.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make sense, it's the law.
The easy choice is to give it to the people to decide.
Right. So reject it, which means accept it, it goes forward.
Right.
It'll be on the ballot.
And I'm all for that, but
November.
then it's may ultimately come back to us again, because if they vote for 1 and they vote for 2,
Well,
then
no,
it's
we're,
not set for our decision. You just said that there's either one.
no, it would be item 2. So when we say reject, it means it will go on the ballot as is in your ballot.
Misunderstood.
So there'll be
I'm
one
number
ballot
2.
initiative. Yeah, it is messy language.
The
I don't like the
problem is when
language,
it comes
but-
back, we can't enforce it.
So if it passes, then yes, then we're gonna have this conversation again about how do you implement this language? And exactly what does it mean?
I think
so-
it needs to go to the people.
Okay, I agree.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second and a robust discussion. All those in favor of rejecting the initiative, say aye.
Aye.
That sounds terrible.
Any nays? I know it's backwards.
Can I just clarify, you're rejecting the
The
initiative?
rejected.
Option 2, correct?
Rejection carries, yes, number 2, on the ballot as is in November. And then if it passes, we'll have this conversation again. All right. All right, that takes us to item 11, public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Right? I've got too many notes here, I'm sorry. Larry, item D, correspondence to city council discussion.
Yeah, thank you. So the concern I had is that I received a copy of a letter that was sent to the Dune City Council. And as a council, we never received a copy of this letter. So I'd like to pass out a copy to each of you. The subject has come up this evening by the Murphys. They sent us each a letter, and they were trying to explain the situation that they have very eloquently described this evening. My concern is that we never got this. It was screened before we got it. And we get all these other letters, why not this one? So what I want to ask, in part, I have another part of this, but what I want to ask in part is that if constituents and people who have voted us into office send us communication, Dune City Council, we need to receive these. We need to receive them when they're received. They can be sent, scanned and sent to us by email. I don't want to have my mail screened by somebody else. I want to know what my constituents think. Good, bad, or ugly. I still want to know what they're writing to us. Now, I am distressed this evening to learn that Jeannie got a certified letter. I apologize because I had no part of that. And I'm offended that you received a certified letter.
Thank you.
I think it was ridiculous. And I don't think this council had a discussion about sending you a certified letter regarding any kind of unacceptable, disruptive, or aggressive behavior, because you have your First Amendment right of free speech. Even if we don't agree with you, you have a right to that. And let me just say that on the back of your letter here, you kind of pinged me because I said crazy. Now, you said that we were maybe calling you gossip mongers or crazy, and that you felt denigrated and that you thought it was sexist. Well, let me tell you something. It's not sexist, okay? I hear lots of crazy things. It doesn't make any difference if they're a man or a woman. I'm the least sexist person you'll ever meet, okay? But we do hear some crazy things, and it's our First Amendment right to think people say crazy things too, you know? So, but I'm disappointed that we sent you that letter and we didn't know anything about it. And so what I'm asking the council to consider is that, you know, we get lots of letters in our packets. Why didn't we get this one? Now, it's not like this issue is ripe for appeal. They were simply writing to us to let us know that a mistake had been made and they would like to have a refund. Now, I don't think the council even needs to make that decision. I think it's the right thing to do. I think we should give them their money back. But if we're going to ask the Murphys to stand in front of us and make their case over a mistake where they were cajoled and threatened into this program, okay, that's just rude. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't make them jump through hoops to get their money back over a mistake. They're a commercial property. They operate like a motel. If they want to operate through the county or the state program, that's up to them. But in terms of us just taking their money and forcing them into the STR program because they have the option of advertising their properties on VRBO or Airbnb, much like Darlings does, much just like the new waterfront motel, a lot of these folks advertise their product on all the different housing venues out there. We shouldn't be taking people's money. It's not ours. It's not rightfully ours, which is why I think we should give it back. But that's not the issue I'm bringing up here. I think this council needs to be more involved before we're sending out certified letters to people. And if somebody is sending us a letter addressed to Dear City Council, we should be receiving it when sent, and this was sent back in May. Back in May.
Not the first one. There appears to be letters prior to that.
Do I need to make a motion that we receive all of our own mail?
No.
Okay.
I'll take responsibility for that. I'm the one that didn't send that forward. In my head, the letters that go to the council are usually the day before the council meetings. We usually have quite a number that we get the day before. I read that letter. Honestly, I didn't even read to who it was addressed. I took action on that letter. So that is my fault. I will take full responsibility for that.
Well, no problem. Forgiveness is in abundance here. My thought, though, is that frequently I hear from constituents that they don't like their government. They don't like their city government. They don't trust us. They don't like how we operate, they don't like how we do business, they think we do things that are underhanded or in the shade. And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be out in the open with people. And so if people are sending me letters telling us what a crummy job we're doing, I want to see those letters so that we can respond, so that we can act, so that we can be proactive. But if we don't get the letters in the first place, that's a problem.
And I get that, and I've actually tried to, I've done more as getting this on, all this stuff online than any other city administrator has. So all of the letters that these people have been writing, I've been trying to get online so that everybody can see that. So, yes, I did make a mistake, but that shouldn't be the whole 9 yards.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll apologize too. I heard of this. I didn't realize it said to council because we talked, she said it was about the permit and I said, oh, that's not for me. And we need some history because this started long before all of us speaking right now.
Sure. Well, I know that like in other cities, Florence, for example, we have a Dune City. So they have an email program where you can email any city councilor in Florence. You know, there's different cities that have different ways for people to send stuff in, but just a simple letter that was sent to us didn't make it to us. So I would just were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think we should get letters, but I think we should get them when it's on the agenda that we're going to be working on. I still work every day, and it takes me a while to get through this as it is. I'm not saying that letters aren't important, they are important, but I need it to be something that's going to be on the agenda. I heard of this too, and I was talking with another counselor, and we can't talk about this kind of stuff, so I don't want this information until it's going to be pertinent in a council meeting. You see, that's my feeling.
I understand what you're saying, but that's not being responsive to your constituents. If they want to send you a letter that says, I think you guys are a bunch of political hacks, well, that's never going to be on our agenda. We're not going to have political hack on the agenda. They have not filed an appeal, but they still have a right to communicate with us and say things like, are you guys honest?
Well, the reason I say that is because this is one side of it.
Right.
There's more information out there that we need to look at, and this is information, it's important, but we need all of the information. That's why I say, take this, the city gets it, hold it until it's time, when it's time, it will be on the agenda, where we look at it.
But it never made it to the agenda, dude.
Well, it's not gonna be on the agenda?
No.
I think it will make it to an agenda.
From May 5th? Come on, if somebody sends me a letter, the problem is, I don't want to be walking through the community, on my kayak or something, and somebody comes up and says, did you get my letter?
Right.
I don't want that to happen.
I've gotten plenty of letters in my mailbox.
Yeah.
And I need more, I don't know why this wouldn't get on an agenda. All it has to be is put on one. There's money involved here. Some folks would like a reimbursement. That's a pretty powerful reason to be on an agenda. I would want it to be on an agenda.
Well, we can put it on the agenda right now. I'll make a motion to give them their money back.
No,
So,
it's an action item that involves money.
Fine, we'll do it next meeting.
Well,
I think the issue
I
is
think there's,
procedural issue.
yes, there's still some action for the staff to do,
Yeah.
some investigation.
So we can,
It may not require any council
That's not
action.
the issue. The issue is, I maybe have a little different opinion than you do. too. I want our constituents to be able to communicate with us.
absolutely, that's my point. So we
That's
can,
all I'm asking.
we could just have a direct pass-through where everything that goes to the council shows up in front of us, and then we have to sort through it.
Right.
Or it gets filtered through staff, they add context, they provide clarity.
Well,
and then you
something,
can-
I think it's two parts, right? Some, like this was a correspondence and it wasn't for an agenda item, because that's the focus when we're working on an agenda. We got, I swept the agenda and then I said, do we have backup? Do we have, the materials available and are there letters for it? So those go together to try to make it easier to follow, but you're right, sometimes you have correspondence, and I don't know where, I apologize, Larry. I heard about it and I didn't realize it said dear city council.
So this
and
was
it didn't
a-
go to the city council.
So this was a mistake. Okay, then what do we have about sending somebody, one of our citizens, with a certified letter?
Yeah, so that's
What's up
a
with that?
completely different, and there will be certified letters mailed, because there are certain things that go by certified mail, code enforcement, things like that. So,
Now, a letter to cease and desist?
let me finish. Yes. So we had a bit of an issue a year and a half ago. We had an outburst at a planning commission. We ultimately had a planning commissioner resign early over part of that discussion. It was kind of an ugly scene. So we had a discussion with the chair of the planning commission and LCOG. They gave us some advice, and they said, and this is a reminder, it's the public meeting law, not the public participation law. This is not a First Amendment question. This is a public meeting question, and a posting question, and an order question. So we have an order to the agenda, and things came up out of order rather loudly, and this had already been noted in the past. And they gave us a script and said, if this happens, here's what you tell them. So after that meeting, they got another letter. And it went certified so that we know they got the letter, because that was a recommendation from ALCOG. This was something the staff carried out. I'm just telling you the story. I hope there's forgiveness for me too once in a while. But it was a sad situation, but it was out of order and out of turn, and it's happened before. So they got a response. This had already been discussed way back when, and it wasn't discussed with the council, it was discussed with the attorney. And that was their recommendation. So that's what staff did. And they immediately sent them a follow-up. So that's what happened, and yes, it went certified because that's a recommendation. You want to make sure, you need to be assured that they got it. Now, First Amendment covers what you can say. Open meeting law discusses when you get to say it. And so that's why we try to keep track of who wants to comment on what, to make sure they get their voice. And we have a spot for citizens' concerns where we don't take action, but you can vent your frustration. So that was specific to an agenda item that was coming up later.
Okay, well, and apparently that letter was rescinded, right? That certified letter was rescinded.
No, it was not.
Okay, well, the person who wrote this letter indicates that,
It was not.
okay, well, there was some kind
That's a
of.
misunderstanding.
Are you talking about me? Because I
Yes.
could answer that. The first letter actually wasn't sent registered, it was just handed to me by the city administrator after a meeting.
Okay,
The second one was sent registered,
okay.
and I couldn't imagine what I had done that was so offensive other than just represent a different point of view. And we had a back and forth, we did. But I thought it was simple enough.
Okay.
Mayor.
I think Chris had the right point, though. We're talking about process, right, Chris? You're talking about how these things come forward to us in terms
Yeah.
of the email.
And some things don't come to the council.
This one did.
Well, yes.
That's why I'm worried about
It should have.
That's why I brought it up.
Yes, it was bad. No, I'm talking about the others. Some things don't. There are things that the staff do that, there's some unpleasantries that occur, and sometimes you'll hear about the appeal, or you'll just hear about it casually. But they're not always, not everything's for council action. And I'm not saying that it's for the mayor's action. I'm not saying I made a decision. I'm just telling you that in real life, there are things that go on that are, staff level. And, so the second part of your comment, that letter, that response, that was at staff level. That was handled, and that they had advice from an organization we're a member of, where they provide professional HR, attorney, guidance. And they took care of that. So it's all to preserve order. It's not about First Amendment. I got a thick skin. You can say anything you want here as long as you wait your turn and participate, and one at a time, so we can record it. Try to make
Okay, well, I'll just accept that we're going to move forward, and our constituents can send us letters and emails, and that's what we'll get.
Sure.
That's good.
Do you have another comment, Chris?
Well, like practically, how do we implement that? Do we?
I think if it goes with an agenda item, it'll be part of the backup, and if it's just in general, like, does this warrant being an agenda item or action, or maybe it'll just say FYI, and then those will be paper clipped and, they'll be distributed when it's appropriate, either email, put in your mailbox, or put in your packet.
That's still flowing through the staff. So it's still the
Oh, yeah.
staff's responsibility to make that call.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of Larry's points.
Well, if it's addressed, this one said, dear city council,
Okay.
it probably, a copy should have gone in everybody's mailbox.
Okay, so if it says Dune City Council,
Yeah,
it will be delivered to us straight away.
Or if it just said, Counselor Clemens,
right.
and
Then
they
we'll put it in
wanted
your
to send
box.
you something.
Right.
Yeah,
That's good. But if they said something like, Dear City Manager, that'd be different.
right.
Okay, or Dear
Exactly.
Mayor, or that'd be different. But if it's to a particular city councilman, to Duke, or to
Right.
me, or
We'll make
to,
sure that gets
or to the group as this one was, then we should receive it.
Yeah, yes, and you're right. This one, I heard about it, and it was like, don't worry, I'm gonna respond to them, and we never thought about this. It was addressed to the council, and it didn't go to everybody.
I think that's an easy fix.
Yep, perfect.
Any other, do you have any comments, Rich? You comfortable with that?
We're not putting anything on the vote, right?
No. This is just a discussion right now, yeah.
Because if the staff hasn't had the time to look into this or to research it,
Right.
then there's nothing to vote on.
Well, and I want to get the history on that, because I don't know I didn't know all the information either. So, yeah, this isn't for a vote, but it's, okay, but I get it, it's a source, all I appreciate it. Susan, anything else? Listen,
Yes, I have a question regarding this whole thing.
yeah,
If my memory straight recalls, prior to the new website being created, we had all of our pictures on there with our emails below. That way the constituents could email us that. And now I know our emails are not below our pictures.
yeah, and that email, I think, went to one email box, right? The old, you could click on the council, it says,
Yeah, we have an order box.
well, on the old one, but they all went to one,
Yeah.
they all went here, right? They didn't go to
Perhaps.
anybody, then they had to.
Perhaps that should be reverted back. That way our constituents, if they feel like they're not being heard, they can send it. And I would hope that every council member brings it to the team.
Well, there's better ways to do that. Like, we could just have Dune City Council, and then it goes to all of our individual boxes. Like, it gets forwarded to your respective personal inbox.
Perhaps that'd be the thing, but I think that needs to be
You want to do that?
re-put back
'Cause
into
that's what I
play.
mean, the old one didn't get forwarded to you automatically, they all stayed at City Hall.
I don't want them to have to worry about something like this happening. So if it went to a general inbox and then got forwarded to all of our emails, I would appreciate
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's great.
I think we have to take it, because I do have a mayor one, and they come right to me.
Right.
And,
I mean, we were all told we had to give an email,
right, and not everybody got
and
it.
not everybody, I mean, it's for a due cause.
We can make it happen. Okay, we have technology.
So, thank you.
Perfect, thank you,
He says he
Elizabeth.
can do it.
I'll believe it when I see it, no offense. It's just, things change and we need to make sure that we're having to follow through on it.
Yeah.
I understand things take time too, so
Uh,
I bless you because I am not computer literate like you are.
Duke, any other comment?
Yeah, I think correspondence is absolutely crucial between the council and the citizens. When it comes to a particular letter like this, where you're talking money, I'm not sure that we should have it before we have all of the information that we're gonna need to someday make a decision. And I don't have any
That's a typo sometimes.
from the city,
Right,
you know?
right.
So, yeah, I think this is a very important issue and it needs to be dealt with for sure. One way or the other, but it's gotta be figured out, but I haven't seen any information, what the other city has to say. So, that's my feeling on that.
Okay, thank you. And, go
Can
ahead.
I just make one more
Yeah.
suggestion? Chris, is it possible that when an email comes into that thing, that an automatic response goes back out to our constituents and thank you for your concern, sending to forward, so they receive that it has been received, and in that way, we as counselors see that it was received on this date and then it's forwarded to us like a chain? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that will help too with the
We're pretty lucky to
dates.
have Chris on the council here.
Boy, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on the correspondence? Because I have a comment about, since you brought it up, Larry. Mrs. Jackson, in your letter, you noted, unrelated to the letter we sent you, this is third from the last paragraph. You said, additionally, I noted, after this exchange, the video of May 20 reveals citizens were recorded during the official break. There was no break, we had an executive session, we were still in the middle of a public meeting. So we don't pause the camera, we don't edit the footage, we don't take anything out and then restart, because that's come up specifically by you, that you thought something might have been edited out, and it's not. It's the raw, awful quality video and sound. We left, we had a 5-minute discussion, we came back. We're not recording you to spy on you, we're recording the council chambers during a public meeting. So executive session is exempt from that. We take brief meeting minutes to satisfy the law, and then we came back. So this is not a clandestine operation. We record all meetings, and we used to do the same, and the video guy would have stood here filming nothing, and then we publish that. So,
Mayor McGuire, I was just pointing out that when you're recording people, you should let them know. You know, everybody was being recorded and every word you said, you could
yes,
hear.
yes, ma'am.
And I just think you should tell people that. I think you need to legally tell people they're being recorded. So you might have done that before you left.
Not in a public place. We record all meetings and they are on our website for
Even when you're on break
viewing.
or outside fighting a fire, every word of it was
You have no right to
recorded.
privacy.
People need to know that. So thank
Okay.
you.
Maybe we'll just put that on the agenda, that all meetings are recorded, because they are, and they have been for years.
Isn't that on our website that says all meetings are recorded?
Or you could just pause it.
I'm not gonna argue about it, but
You
we
can
can't
pause
pause it. We're recording the whole thing. There was no break here. We left for executive session, the meeting was still in session, so the time, because when we came back, we say, we're back in business out of executive session, and there's a timestamp on there, and so.
It was just a little disturbing because you got to hear every word we said, but we didn't get to hear at all what you were saying about.
Oh, that was good stuff shared back there too.
That's not a
All right.
problem.
I promise, we were just doing our duties. There was,
All right, thank you for addressing that.
thank you.
Get your turn.
Okay, now are we up to 11? Everybody ready to move forward? That was just discussion, right? Larry? Okay, we'll promise to do better. Okay, 11A, we're back to chapter 155, land use code continuing. I have a short script. Okay. June 17th, land use file, PAPA 25-01. This is a type 4 legislative amendment to chapter 155 of the Boone City Development Code. When approved, the amendments will be adopted via ordinance 275. The planning commission recommended approval and adoption of the amendments with the revisions as noted. The city council is reconvening the public hearing tonight to continue the hearing from the May 20th, 2026 city council meeting. The hearing is open and oral and written comments will be accepted. The public hearing is now open, and I have, let's see, before we get started, we ended on page 58, but Larry, you had a good comment about setbacks. Because, and Susan, you had some good comments because we've got smaller lots in one part of town and larger lots, and by ordinance, all future lots 1 acre minimum, but existing lots smaller. And Larry brought up that you talked to staff and were able to get a, for lack of a better term, an informal variance. And so we added some words that we could possibly go down to 5-foot side yards and rear yards with adjacent owner's approval. And I did a little research and a lot of thinking, and I talked to James. Lila was out of the office, and I talked to James, and he talked to staff. So it's been past practice from a previous city administrator, it goes back a few years, that there were things, if there was sufficient space and, no conflicts, it was just granted, and there was not a proper variance done. And the problem with that is, it doesn't comply with ordinance down the road. So if something came up, it'd be like, well, I'm sure you talked to your neighbor, but you're still violating the ordinance. So if we're all comfortable going to 5 feet, why don't we just plug 5 feet in instead of, because I really don't like the neighbor's okay with it because we're not compliant with our own ordinance for variances and posting and going to the planning commission. But if it's been past practice and it works, then.
How does Pam feel about it?
No comment.
Well,
Oh, come on, Pam.
no, Larry, I don't want to go there because
Yeah.
you put Pam in an awkward spot and Pam may not be here forever.
Okay.
And Pam wasn't here 20 years ago. And so this isn't about Pam, but if it's been a past practice,
I'm good with the 5 feet.
then I think we should document it. If everybody's okay with that, we had the discussion. I just don't like it casual because neighbors change, things change, opinions change, and the same Post-it note that you got that says it's okay will be used against you to say, he told me you were gonna do it without a variance. I got a Post-it note, so.
Sounds good to me.
I think on 1 acre lots, they've got plenty of room.
They do.
To me, I don't understand why they can't use 10 feet. I can understand it on the small
Well,
lots.
I see both sides. I mean, it's either 10 feet or it's not, but if the practice is, you just ask, and if there's nothing in the way you're gonna get it, then we need to document it, because I really don't like I don't like saying we have a planning commission and an ordinance and then saying, well, just go to the permit tech and if it's okay in this case. And to your point, I mean, not everybody has a high opinion about government, and inconsistency is usually number one. Well, taxes are number one and inconsistency is number two. So I know we have at least one developer in the audience or builder, and I know inconsistency is a pain in the neck, right? I mean, you don't know what to presume, and you think you've done it all right, and then you get kicked back. And so that's something we strive for. And we have hands in the back. Oh, Rapunzel, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so this change that you made last week bothered me as well, from a planning commissioner point of view, but
Yeah.
I'm not speaking on behalf of the planning commission. Something that perhaps is not quite understood by everybody is that this section of code, the zoning and development code, all decisions are made after an application process. So you going in and asking for a variance just verbally doesn't follow the intent and the code.
Exactly. That's my concern as well. That we have a planning commission and we have an ordinance that says you go through that process, but if you want to do a building addition or something later, you just...
Correct. So the correct way to have handled Commissioner Farnsworth's request would have been to go through a variance.
Right.
And that whole process. However, in our code some time ago, it used to be that all property line divisions required a public hearing in that process. And then some time back, it was changed so that only the lots that were non-conforming or would become non-conforming by a property line adjustment required the public hearing process. Any lots that were an acre or more and would remain an acre or more could simply fill out an application that would be approved. It had to be accompanied by the drawings of the site plans and all of that kind of stuff, neighbor statements. But that application could be approved by the city planning official under a type 1 process, which means it doesn't go to the planning commission.
It's done at
to
a
the
staff
city
level,
council.
correct?
Right.
And it still complies because you have a process for
It still
that.
complies, it's still documented in the property files, it's still recorded with the county, wherever
Right.
everything needs to be. The same could possibly be done with what Mr. Farnsworth
Right.
had asked. And I would like to ask that I have an opportunity to bring this to the planning commission to see if that's a route they want to investigate.
To do
To
the staff
see-
level
to see
minor
if
variance, for
there's
lack of a better term.
simple process for a simple agreed upon by the neighbors.
Okay.
It would still require an application, but another process.
But it wouldn't go to a full planning commission meeting and city council for action.
I would like the planning commission to see if there's a way to
Okay.
avoid the full variance
Right.
application. But it would still have to be an approved application, if not by the planning commission, then by the planning official
Okay.
under Title I.
Okay, I like that idea as well. I thought about that, and that is an additional change in here that we hadn't discussed. So I took the easy way out and said, just make them all 5 feet, but Rapunzel's correct. There's also a state law in LUBA say variance, they talk about when to grant a variance and when not to, and what it means to request a variance. And it's typically a hardship, like a landform, a cliff, a rock outcrop, a spring, a soggy spot where you can't build here, but if you could scooch over a little bit, but it causes a problem. And so there's usually a detailed justification as to why. Is it a special tree? Is it a spring? Is it, whatever. So.
Well, I was also thinking about Susan's house.
Right.
Having some flexibility there would have been a good thing for Susan.
Right.
So there's a happy medium here somewhere. I have no problem with a type 1 review that's approved by the staff. Either that or we do the 5 feet. So Mayor, do we want to hear back from the planning commission or do we want to just change it to 5 feet?
So, and now I'm back on page 45, right? So, we were in the commercial part on 58, but on 45, we have the residential setbacks. So, that's why I bring it up. I just wanted to do over with the rest of the council, and we have that opportunity. I think we added a chart or a column for the smaller lots, existing smaller lots. And we did have smaller setbacks, including side yards at 5 feet for those smaller lots that existed, that were already there and don't meet the 1 acre minimum today. So I think that's for us to talk about. We have the opportunity to go to planning commission and come up with an alternative, or make them all 5 feet and just say, we're gonna approve, we're gonna make them 5 feet because that's where we wanna end up, so. And that's for all of us, right? I mean, but you made me think, about how we got there and what past practice, and you're correct, it has been adjusted in the past.
What could just be something simpler? Somebody wants to be, I have a property that's larger than an acre.
Right.
And I might want to just save a big tree.
I know, right,
So-
well, just to come up with the best site plan, it just,
Right.
you might have 5 acres, but
Right.
you really want it right here because of the location of power and water and.
I don't think people are gonna try and move close to their neighbor just to be close to their neighbor. I think they're gonna have practical reason why they would need to even be close to 5 feet. So the 5 feet would be the minimum.
All right,
So I'd like to hear from other people.
yeah, me too. Chris,
I'm good.
with 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I like more distance, I don't like being 5 feet away from my neighbor.
well, you don't
I would
have to
like-
be, but it would be the minimum.
No, I did have to be, but so I would like, if I had a 1 acre lot, I'd be 50 feet away from my neighbor. I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
as I see it, if I have a lot of room, I'm gonna be as far as I can from the neighbor to give him
Sure.
space.
That's a different thing, though. This would be the minimum allowed,
I
not
understand, I'm
what
telling
you
you,
desire.
I think it's too small.
Okay. So right now, we have 10 feet, 10 feet if you're acre or greater, and 5 feet if you're the smaller, on our page 45.
And I understand it for the smaller lots because they're not that wide.
Right. you
But
know,
I
it's not real
don't
estate.
get it for an acre lot. I
Right.
would do 10 feet because to me, comparatively speaking, 10 feet on a bigger lot is equivalent to 5 feet on a smaller lot.
All right, Melissa, how do you feel?
I would want the 10 feet, I wouldn't want a shorter. You may
Alright.
get a neighbor that you just don't mix with, and so you're putting yourself at a disadvantage in regards to having to deal with them.
So you're saying 10 feet on a half acre lot?
1 acre.
1 acre.
No, on a 1 acre.
1 acre. Yeah.
Which would then, well, Duke, how do you feel?
I have some less than an acre, and I'm probably less than 5 feet right now, so.
We're recording this.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's been that way, so it's probably, the fence was there before I got there. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, it's a small place, I'm good with 5. Can on a big one,
Okay.
over an acre.
So if we leave that, then do we want to direct the planning commission to have that discussion about a staff level variance for those simpler, and I like that, because then we follow our own ordinance, but because I frankly, I came from an organization where there were more staff level, we have very large staff, but it was bigger adjustments would go to planning commission, city council, and smaller, they would say, everything else complies, you got this is supplement staff.
So what are you're saying that a type 1 approval,
Is staff level,
Right.
you still do an application and
are
a
you talking
formal.
about whatever the setback is, or only going from 10 to 5?
10 to less, yes,
10 to less on a 1 acre or larger lot.
yes. And then we would allow the smaller lots, we would leave it as we did for the 5 feet on the small lots.
That's good to me, I'm fine with it.
Because it saves the time of full planning commission posting
Right.
and because that drives me crazy when it's something relatively straightforward and the recommendation's approved, but it still takes 6 months to get you there with all the steps and posting and everything.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay,
Mayor, I have a question, just
Yeah.
for clarification. I know you've answered this before, but I'm gonna ask you again. So for the houses that are pre-existing now,
yes.
and we change these, what is going to happen to those houses?
Nothing.
It stays
This is all
the way it
future.
Okay,
This is
that's
going
what I
forward.
make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Now,
I still.
this type 1 variance,
Could change
that would become the new variance for that type, and that would apply to anybody. So if you
And
said,
so people that
I
would
always
be out
wanted
of
to build
code
a
at that
chicken
point,
coop, and I needed the variance, but it wasn't worth going to planning commission, but now it's easier, maybe I'll build a chicken coop. I mean, that's a terrible example, but
but that would throw them out of compliance on the code, correct?
that's why they would be able to do this type 1 if we get to that. That would be part 2, would go to planning commission for
The
for a
reason why I
simple
ask
variance.
is because if we passed it with this and did the type 1
Mhm.
and it passed, if you have two people, maybe a neighbor moves and a new neighbor buys it and they're like, well, that's not my line, this is where I should be.
Right.
You're gonna have a dispute between the
Right.
two neighbors.
That's why I
creating a
think
conflict.
it should be documented. If you get the variance, you'd have that, it was reviewed, it was approved, you know,
But if neither one files for the variance.
then you got a problem, right? Then you got a dispute.
And what do you do about a situation that's so unique that you need a site setback that is 0?
You apply for variance,
Okay.
and you would come up, that's where you would probably have that, the laws on your side. You
So
could
would that-
describe.
Would that be a type 1 or would that be further?
It's a
Well,
type 3.
Right
Type
now,
3?
yeah, that would be a type 3, but yeah, that would, we would start with planning commission, what do you want to include in there? But this is where the law says, if you have clear hardship because of natural landforms or,
Sure.
you know, what, an interstate was built, and they built giant sound walls, so everything in your world changed. We don't want that lot to become non-compliant because of something else that went on, and so, yeah, there's always got to be a
Well,
remedy.
it sounds like we're all good with doing a type 1,
Okay.
so.
Okay, so, next step, we'll, like, is this the right way to do this, Rapunzel? We ask the planning commission to,
So what
we have
is
one of
it?
the other planning commission here, not that we have an illegal planning commission
I
meeting
got a
tonight.
little confused about what it is that you're asking the planning commission to do.
The 10 foot to 5 foot, as a type 1, at a staff level variance.
So when a person wants to intrude upon their 10-foot setback, you want the setback to be moved to 5 feet?
No, they could apply for a variance down to 5 feet, but it would be that or that type 1 variance for that type of adjustment.
So you can apply for a variance to intrude into your 10-foot setback 5 feet,
Yeah, that makes sense?
possibly? Okay.
So that's where we were, right? We were okay going down to 5 if there was a special case. And so we'll make it the type 1 variance review for that specific case on lots 1 acre and greater, where 10 foot is now proposed to be required. You could go down to 5 with the type 1 variance.
And I would have asked you, Rapunzel, but I can't see you back there.
It's unusual, but nice having the chair of the planning commission in the back row to take notes and carry the water for us.
Mayor, may I get my clarification, it's only for 1 acre or greater, or it's
Yes,
for all?
because the smaller, we propose to make it 5 foot
Okay.
for the smaller existing legal lots, they would have a 5 foot setback already.
Okay.
So the larger lot would be allowed with the variance to match. And anything less would be the type 3 variance where there's going to be a public hearing and you're really going to have to justify that hardship. Which should solve those cases where we have a very unusual shaped lot and we just can't figure out how to make it work. There's a remedy, it's not a simple remedy, but there's a remedy. All right,
And
so.
these are minimums, they can be greater.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I just want to say that.
Greater will be encouraged. All right, that takes us back to page 58. We were at size of signs, correct?
Yes.
There we go. And there were some strikeouts and some additions, and Rich, you brought up
Signs or just, I don't have one that says sign, oh, signs, okay, my.
size of signs.
Yep,
We're in the
gotcha.
commercial chapter. You brought up the challenge with sign, New York State right away. James did some research.
Yeah, he sent me
Okay.
information on it, and what they say is not what they practice or preach, so.
I could imagine, but it does say if it's lit and it has a view that they do have some oversight
Yeah,
to
no,
make sure that it doesn't create a
I
nuisance.
get that 100%, and I know what he was told by the state is not what I have in emails, so.
Okay. Okay,
But neither here nor there.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
all right, so any comments on section 3, the recommendations from planning commission? And remember, this is property facing 101 that is in Dune City, because the bulk of the property along 101 is outside Dune City. There's just a couple little pieces that make it to the highway right away. Any comments there? If not, rule 4, off-premise signs. It's an adjustment and then adding the words that the application comes from the property owner. If it's a lease or a business that doesn't own the property. Numbers of signs. 5 starts out the same, and then there's some words struck out. There's no longer a grandfather clause listed. That was H. It takes us to 155.2.2.190s, special standards for certain uses. And this is now a reserved section because we had a whole bunch of future possibilities. They've all just been struck because they weren't things we were doing.
So this section basically got moved from here to other places.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we,
Okay,
and we
so
took it off the
at
list.
this point, we just reserve 190 for potential
In case
future
we need it
things.
for something later.
Okay. So that whole section takes you to page approximately 62.
And we took that off the beginning list of sections. Or we're just gonna put a comment underneath it that it's reserved?
It just says reserve, yeah, so it'll be one of those, like, this page intentionally left blank.
Okay, thank you.
So if some planning thing comes up in the future, it'll fit in there, under commercial. That should take us to 155.2.3, open space overlay zone. So it used to say lakes, it's lakes and shoreland in R1, so that's the riparian for the adjacent to residential, and lakes and shorelands in the CC zone. And then it strikes shorelands and Booth Island as separate items because they would be covered under shoreland R1 or shoreland CC. And then there's a couple other words stricken. Takes us to 155.2.3, 200, lakes and shoreland R1 zone. This is the definition, spelled out. Any comment on that?
So, I'm trying to make sure I'm on the same page you guys are on.
Okay.
I just passed 155.2.3.110. Is that where we are?
Page 6.
Are you on 62? I have a 100 and I don't have a 110, it goes to
Okay,
200.
I'm on 63.
Yeah, mine's renumbered, so there's.
Okay, I
Yours is
apologize.
renumbered.
Mine's not renumbered. Yes, I'm on the same section as you, Larry.
Okay, 63. So
you.
on that particular
Yeah.
section, I was skipping to the next page, which for me would be placement standards. And I was noticing that when we get to size, again, it says pursuant to Oregon residential dock guidelines, total area of dock on water should not exceed 144 square feet. Do we even want to put that in the code? Because I think we had didn't we have a conversation about how 144 square feet would be kind of ridiculous?
We did guidelines versus laws. We had that previous.
Yeah, there was a
discussion.
recommendation.
So
Yeah.
these are, okay, they're just recommendations.
You can apply for a larger one and get them. So should we, I agree, why should we have a set not to exceed 144
I
square
agree.
feet?
Exactly. If the state will approve it, I mean, that's between you and the state. This is an awkward spot because we issue the building permit
Yeah.
for the dock or the structure, but it's on a state water, and the state has to say that they would approve it before we issue a building permit. So we become the local jurisdiction for the construction of it, but someone else permits it. So yeah, I think we just say for the state.
Yeah, can we just take that out?
The planning commission is concerned.
So I'm not quite sure I'm following you here. The pursuant to Oregon Department Fish and Wildlife, Planning Commission left that in so that it was clear it was a guideline from ODFW, but it doesn't have to be there for code language. You can simply skip to the dock sizes. In other words, in paragraph little a could say, residential dock guidelines, colon, and those are the sidelines, or those are the sizes.
So that's the recommended
So the
maximum.
the intent of the planning commission is to have the docks be the sizes that are listed here.
Yeah, and I think that's a mistake.
And the reason for that is the planning commission felt that it should take some sort of step to undertake some shoreline preservation.
I think that's overreach by Dune City since it's a state waterway.
So when you apply for a dock, you fill out your Lux paperwork, you bring it into the city, and on the Lux, it asks, it says something like, is there city code regarding dock sizes, or something like that.
Right.
And so the city administrator or recorder checks yes on that. And then when the application gets to DSL, they take a look at the city's code and they determine whether or not your dock is going to exceed the city's code. And if it does, city's code is the jurisdiction.
I personally, it's a huge mistake for us to make. I don't like the idea of one government agency working to use another government agency's rationale for a certain size dock to limit what you can build.
So if Dune City decides that its maximum dock size is going to be 144 feet, or whatever it is, when DSL gets its application from a person wanting to build a dock, it looks at Dune City's code and it sees that the maximum that person can build is 144 square feet.
I think that's what the state is right now.
And the state has been moving towards some smaller docks, working with ODFW in response to something called the Oregon Conservation Strategy that's been in place for about 12 years.
Right.
So they are looking for smaller dock sizes. However, DSL has said to me personally, they can't make a jurisdiction undertake more environmentally friendly guidelines. So that's why ODFW and DSL recommend the smaller sizes, and they hope the cities will adopt smaller dock sizes.
Okay.
But the opportunity is there to make a bigger one?
Nope.
You can, if you have money, you
No,
can
what I'm
make it
saying
all.
is-
No, I know, I'm not putting this into it.
If you take this out, the state can't use this as a limit. If you take the language out, then the state doesn't have the crutch of saying, well, Dune City will only let you have 144 square feet. Once you put it in the code here, that's gonna be the limit.
I am aware.
Yeah.
So if the city wants to allow larger docks, well, that's up to you, you're deciding that.
The state says so, right?
You cannot exceed whatever the state says, and I'm not sure what those guidelines are right now. But you can simply change the square footages that are written here. You have to have something in your code that says what the square footages are.
And is this something, if somebody said, well, based on the location I'm at and the depth of the water, I need a longer dock, can they get a variance through planning commission?
Through DSL probably.
So,
Your gangways can be longer, but
so
your
at that
docks
point,
can't be
the
bigger.
state would ignore this number if they said, if I do that number, I'm in 2 feet of water and it's not a boat dock, it's just a piece of wood.
Well,
I haven't got to deep enough water?
oh, I don't know yet.
Because that's the reality, right? I mean, if you're lucky to have waterfront, but the short line changes a lot, it goes from very steep on one side of the lake to very flat on the other side of the lake. Same on Silkus, it varies a lot.
We've also got the variance of the level of the lake for different times of year that they're gonna have to account for.
If you build exactly 24 feet long, it may be laying in the mud in August, depending on where you're parked.
The realistic status of 140 square feet is almost, you can't do it. Because, like you're saying, if you gotta go 40 feet to get to the dock, there's deep
To get to deep enough, right?
then you've got 300 square feet of dock space or gangplank.
And I know their square footage, they wanted to minimize shade on the bottom and weed growth and all that, but yeah, sometimes you can't get deep enough water.
Well, the other thing too is that, let's say you have a boat, and your boat comes into berth, and they have dock on both sides. How are you ever gonna get a boat between two sections of dock and stay below 144 square feet? You're not gonna do it. So you're basically saying no more boats.
Well, this presumes the peninsula, and if, it says if you split it with a neighbor,
Well, okay, 200.
then you could have two sides.
Well, you can put a boat, we have one that's perpendicular to dock and our boat
I
comes up just
understand.
fine.
I'm just seeing what I see out on the lake. A lot
Well,
of
I
people.
understand that, but there are other types, so it does work.
What happens if we just eliminate it and leave it to the state, because the state controls the water anyway?
Yeah.
So, any idea what they do with Bundle? Are there communities out there that have no standard, that have waterfront?
As far as sizes of
Yeah,
docks?
yeah.
No, almost all of them all of them that I've investigated have standards.
Okay.
They're getting more and more strict on their standards. And it may be that the state will, one of these days, come up with their own standards.
And that would be one of my comments. We say the 2016 guidelines. I would rather say latest edition, because when they come out with a new version and it gets smaller, everybody's gonna say, no, I used 2016, you adopted 2016. It
Or
allows
as
the
I said,
6.5.
just take the guidelines by ODFW out and just state that these are the specs that you're allowed for
Oh,
your
I
docks.
see what you mean. So yeah, we got two schools of thought. One is we either just say just the specs and it's up to the state. The other is we just say it's this many square feet, figure it out, go talk to the state.
And if you don't put any specs in there at all, then people can build the biggest dock that they want. There's no restriction.
Except what ODFW approves.
No.
And
They'll
possibly
approve it.
interfere with their neighbor.
Because the DSL goes by the local jurisdiction.
Can't do that on the Silkus River.
Oh, non-approved.
So we're revising a code. Did we have a size standard before?
What does the state say?
Yes.
Where does it say that you have to limit to any amount of square footage in the
Right
existing?
above it, I tried to understand, water access structures in the shoreline shall have a maximum width of 8 feet and shall extend to the shoreline as direct a route as practical. There were no standards.
That was the water act, that was to get to the water.
And then right above is another height, another length.
All the way up. Boathouses.
Boarding
And boarding
floats,
floats.
640 square feet.
Yeah, so there
So
were a
we're not
couple of
letting
things.
boathouses anymore, they're not being
Doesn't say one, yeah.
I guess I'd stay with the sizes we already have in the code.
But I mean, you go and you look at Munsell Lake and you have docks that are, because they reach out, I mean, and then you have docks that are, like you're saying, right close to the shoreline and you park horizontal with the shoreline. And then you look at other docks and they're shared docks, they have two sides, so I mean, I'd be curious as to how theirs read.
Well, a lot of those are old, you know, they go way
So
back.
then we need to just do per
Well,
the 2016.
Back up to placement A. Measured from ordinary high water mark, piers and gangways shall extend in the water not more than 150 feet, perpendicular shoreline to a bottom depth of 5 feet at ordinary low water, whichever provides shortest extension into the water. In the event of a steep bottom, the structure is permitted to extend from ordinary low water line to 24 feet of the structure may extend into the water beyond that. So there's some dimensions there about how far it could go. you know, it tries to take into account, you know, the variations for the shoreline.
I don't see why we have to label and put those things in if we're saying pursuant to the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife residential dock guidelines.
You know,
Again, a guideline is not a law.
we didn't get very far, or actually we covered a lot tonight, but it's 8 o'clock, that's a good place to stop and do a little research. I think, you know, I'll leave it to staff, maybe, oh, go ahead.
A little citizen input on what you're talking about with the docks. I thought this was the domain of the Oregon State Department of State Lands waterway leases. Don't they control docks, float houses, boat houses, and things like that? So you were talking about, is this your jurisdiction or theirs? I'm pretty sure it's theirs. So
Both.
that's something you might check into.
We will, but it's
Yeah.
both. We issue the permit and do the building inspection. But you're on state water within the city limits, so you go to the state as well. And I think that's where Punzel's point is. If we have a standard, then the state will make you follow that standard when you build a dock,
Right.
when you have a home in Dune City, so it's both.
So my only thought was, if you drive around either lake and you look at the docks, I don't know anybody that's thinking the docks are too big. But I can guarantee you, if you pass this the way it's written, they'll all become smaller in the future.
I guarantee you, we have to include the river.
Yeah,
What's on the river are have to be much different than what's written in here.
And there's language. Yeah, I saw the language.
So it's 8:00 something. So how about we, James, will you maybe start with the state?
Yes, sir.
And say, you know, help us understand who's on first, and then we can decide whether it goes, if it's something council should just amend, or we send it back to planning commission to change the verbiage, or we just change the verbiage, but, I don't wanna remain anything with the planning commission, I'd like to get answers for the council, and we'll do, you know, make it as best we can make it. I don't have a dog in this fight, I drive by the lake, I go to Rich's place.
Yes, right.
So with that, we made it to page 64. We will close the public hearing for tonight. We will continue this hearing on July 1st, 2026 at the 6 p.m. City Council meeting. With that, we should be for the good of the order. Duke, what do you got?
Recurring theme's been coming up lately that this council or councils in the past have been doing dastardly things or underhanded or sneaky things. All the years I've been on foreign mayors and I don't know how many city councilors, I have never been approached by anybody at any time to ever do anything that wasn't talked about in front of the citizens or recorded. Not one time.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Melissa, anything? No. Susan? I agree with Duke. Government's easy to pick on. It's a sport in America. We have the First Amendment. Nobody goes to jail for saying things, but I'm with you. I'm not here for anything other than get back to the community. Rich?
I'd like to thank the staff and council for all their hard work and mayor for all your hard work, your day-to-day actions. I would like to propose, and I'll leave it to mayor and staff to figure out how they want to do it, but I would like to see our staff be at a table up here where we can interact with them on a face-to-face level instead of clear back in the back of the room, where for me, I'm a little hard of hearing, and would be nicer if we could actually hear a little more of what Rapunzel's saying.
Yeah.
For me personally, so if you guys could accommodate, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Great idea.
Thanks for getting the new landing strip on Silk-Goose Lake taken care of, and all your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Chris?
I have nothing, thank you.
Larry?
Well, as Rich indicated, we're making great progress. Some of you may know that we had a seaplane base on Silk Goose Lake. And some of you old timers might know the people who actually operated it. And it just went dormant is all. And so we applied, Rich and I worked together and contacted the FAA, and Darlings will be the host of the seaplane base.
That's cool.
And so what we hope to do is to create kind of a other areas that are seaplane enthusiasts or just vacationers that would like to come and see the seaplanes, but the idea that they would stay and all of these places that are available, our hotels, motels, RV parks, campgrounds, they would come and stay, and they'd we could have a concert at Darlings, we could have them enjoy the dunes, go out with Torx. I think it'd be kind of fun. We could be a real seaplane mecca here, because we already have the Murphy's Place, which is the Wohink Sea Base, so we have 2 sea bases within our city limits, Wohink and Silk Goose. So it's going to be pretty exciting, I think. And it's also going to help support the ODARTS program, which is the Oregon Defense Responsive Team, where they fly in supplies from the valley if there's a tsunami or an earthquake. And so there's a lot of fun things that we can do with that.
We're doing that on our property.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's awesome, that we have that option, so. Thank you, that's all I had.
All right, that is the last item. I need a motion to adjourn. Anybody want to second?
Second.
All right. Rich seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 8:07.